Alright, so here is a system of equations. Now this is different from what we did previous day, because previous day I gave you the system and asked for the graph. So today I need to give you the graph and ask for the system. So here's our three equations. Okay? So something that's nice to do is if you can number the equations on your paper. 1, 2, 3. And that's not something that's required to do, but it kind of helps you just to make sure that you don't miss anything or forget anything when you're writing equations. So if we're going to write the equation number 1, remember anytime we write the equations for horizontal or vertical lines, we're saying which axis does that cross and where? Well, that crosses, let's see, where's the notepad? That crosses the x-axis at -3. Now I didn't put a sign in between the two numbers yet because remember we're working with inequalities, so we want to make sure to write the correct sign. It's not just an equal sign always. Okay? So I know that it's shaded to the right hand side of that line, and I also know that that's a solid line. Since it's a solid line, it's either going to be greater than or equal or less than or equal. Since it's to the right hand side of the solid line, it's going to be greater than or equal. So that's line number 1. Okay, line number 2, which is this dotted line right here. Oh, dotted tells me something right from the beginning. I know that it's going to be either less than or greater than. And I know because it's shaded above that line, it's going to be greater than. So I know that right off the bat. I also know that it's not a horizontal or vertical line. It's just a regular other kind of line. And so I know I'm going to have two variables. So I can already start off y is greater than. Okay? When I'm writing the equations of lines, remember we have to have two things. We have to have a slope and we have to have a y-intercept. A lot of times people think the y-intercept is easier to find, especially when it crosses at a point just like that. So my y-intercept is -2. When I go to count my slope, which is I can do that because I'm on a graph, I would rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. So that means my slope is 1/2 x. Now, some people don't like it in that order because that's not an order they're used to writing it in. They want it in slope-intercept form. Nowhere in the directions here does it ever say it has to be in slope-intercept form. It just says, give me the equations of the lines, and that's a perfectly fine equation. But if you feel like you really need to have it like this, because that's what's been, crashed into your head for the last couple years, I'm okay with that too. Okay? But remember, this is not wrong. Neither is this one. Okay? All right, last one. If we're talking about line 3 is this one going this way. All right, this dotted line right here. And that tells you something right off the bat. It is dotted, so it's either going to be less than or greater than. Since it's shaded below that line, we know it's going to be less than. Okay? So I can go ahead and start off with y is less than. Well, my intercept is at 1. And if I'm counting, I can go, let's see, I could start right there and go down 1, right 2. Down 1, right 2. So I know my slope is -1/2 x because I have a negative slope because it's falling to the right. And then I know my y-intercept is 1. Once again, I wrote it like that for the people who are still worried about slope-intercept, but it could say 1 minus 1/2 x, and that would be perfectly fine. Okay? So that is, if you're given a system, if you're given the graph, give me the system. That's what your answers would look like. Here I have 3 lines, so I need to have 3 inequalities in my system. Sometimes I might have 4 lines, then obviously I'll need 4 inequalities, 2 lines, 2 inequalities, and so on. Okay? Have a great day.